Nice to see you, everybody. It's been a while since I did anything on the channel, and this year my New Year's resolution is to do a lot more, and mainly put out an awful lot of the historical side of wargaming, because there's, I think, more than enough fantasy. Now, you may have a clue by looking at the picture that this particular video is going to be looking at the Black Powder book, Into the Valley of Death. So, about 1980, 1985, my good friend Martin and I wanted to do the Crimean War. And I think we found some 6mm figures. We can't find them. We have been looking. And we found a rule book called The Thin Red Line. I think it's called The Thin Red Line. Again, we've been hunting desperately for it. Why? Because Black Powder have issued this nice little book. Why Crimean War? Well, Warlord Games have issued their new 28mm range. And as I say, going back to the 1980s, we've had a fascination. But to be perfectly honest, if it was just plain horse and musket, why not just do Napoleonic or something like that, which we do. But we kind of liked the book. It inspired us. Perhaps we'd had too much to drink, and we decided, yeah, new project for 2026. Here we are, the 21st of January. I already have 4 new projects for 2026, and this is the first of them. So I thought what I'd do is a video looking at briefly looking at this book and looking at some models that I've brought in 18mm from Lancashire Games, because they do a Crimean War range. It doesn't cover everything, so we are having to make some compromises, and it is 18mm, not 15, but we'll look at those figures in a while. Now, I think it's also fair to say that Into the Valley of Death, whilst it does cover all the nationalities, obviously it has to cover Russia to some degree, because they're the foe, unless you're Russian, and that's what you want to be. But from the British Wargames point of view, it does have a bigger focus on the British and the British Army. Now, as Martin led on this particular initiative, he opted for the British. So I decided, let's have a look at what Lancashire Games do, and they do quite a nice French army, so I've gone for French. But let's have a look at the book. Now, if you've got any of these books, most of them I think are a bit more thicker than this and feel a bit more firmer, but that's me just being funny. What I will say is that the pictures in this book are fantastic. Well, I'll show you a few of them, and it is enough here to inspire one into the period. Written by Peter Brown. All I can say is well done, Pete. Good job. I mean, look at the pictures. And I believe that these are the 28mm figures by Warlord Games. Now, I'm not going to go through everything, but you can see that this does cover the Russians, the Ottomans, the Brits, and the French, with Sardinia. More than enough. I also have some, if you will, Ottoman figures with musket that could, it's a fairly generic Ottoman army for the period. I mean, just add a few of the Napoleonic figures that you can get for the Ottomans in 15mm. And I think it kind of like becomes a universal army. So I can also use this as an inspiration to fight some of the Ottoman v Russian games. Now, I am using my 15mm Napoleonic Russians. They're based perfectly okay. They aren't specific uniforms for Crimea, and there are some differences, but there's only so much money, so much storage, and so much painting time. This is about gaming. They're quite nicely painted. I'm not going to show you them at the moment. Might do in the future. Might even show you a game in the future. But they work perfectly, and indeed, I'll show you some of the French that I've painted. And we've been playing. We've played 2 or 3 games now with Black Powder, and we have absolutely loved the games. Right, stop waffling. Let's move on a bit. The background is very interesting. If you're interested in this period, I certainly recommend it. And here we start off with the Russian army. And the most, you can see, if you look there, yeah, they've got slightly different helmets, but apart from that, a Russian Napoleonic figure, especially with the flap caps that they've got there, just fits the bill. I'll try to get some lighting better. There's a nice picture of a Russian battalion. I've done mine differently because mine 15 and mine are based on 40mm by 30s, but they do give this impression. They give that march block or column. That's what I'm talking about. Column of march or column of attack feel. So they work perfectly. And in terms of the stats, just briefly, that's what you get. There's not a lot of options, but there's more than enough. So if you know black powder, you know what it looks like. Here we go with the Ottomans. Oh, apologies. And here we have the Ottoman stats. And they look quite interesting. I've looked at these. I'm not sure if this is working right. So we get a lot better light in there. That's quite interesting. It's different. There's subtle differences in black powder. You don't need massive differences to get interesting games. So anyway, I'm not going to flip through everything. It is a good book. If you like it, there's a view of the British stats again. Just a few, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 categories. Standard horse and musket really for black powder. But one of the things I wanted to look at with you, I think it's page 53. No, trust me, get it wrong. Here it is. This is going to be our first British v Russian scenario. Why? Because that's the one that Martin likes, and quite happy to follow along with it. This picture gives you a view. You see, you've got your Russian columns, and you've got your thin red line there. So that's the feel you're going for. But we're building up to that. I'm trying to find the famous Charge of the Light Brigade. I mean, the pictures are just fantastic. Look at that. They really are inspiring. I had this prepared. Here we go. It's page 62. There's me, page 53. There you go. So that is Charge of the Light Brigade. And a quote by Sir Harry Flashman there, which is quite interesting. But I'm not going to show you it all because you go by the book. But that is Into the Valley of Death. It's not trying to cover everything, but there's more than enough in there if you're interested in the period. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look at, if you will, a mini unboxing or unpacking, and look at some of the Lancashire figures, Lancashire Games figures, which we've opted to use. So I'm not really sure you can call this an unboxing. This particular, or the French came in just a bag, but this is what I have yet to paint. So I just thought I'd show you some of these as a classic. Oh look, that's not too bad a picture, is it? So that's one of the mounted commanders. So this has been cleaned up. There wasn't a lot of flesh, or flash should I say. And these are 18mm. They are bigger than 15. Hey, 18mm greater than 15. Stroke of genius. But what I can say is that I enjoy painting the 18s, and it's persuaded me that, yes, if possible, going forward, I'm going to use 18s over 15s, because when you get older, when you get older, things become a little bit more challenging to see. This is a shame, but it's a fact of life. So there's one of those. But let's have a look in this particular pack. This is command stands or command units. Here we go. See if we can do this and get it focused. So you can see, so this is straight out the bag. You can actually see that there is very little flash. There's perhaps a bit of tidy up there. Oh look, that's come away already, good. There's very little flash. You do have to tidy the bases up, not a big deal. But overall, they're quite nice. And what I like about it is that they look simple to paint, and indeed, relatively they are. Let's look at an officer. Oh no, we won't. We'll look at a drummer then. I thought I picked an officer up. And again, a little bit of stubby on the base to file down, and there's a little bit under the arm. Perhaps a few scrapings around the legs, but overall, nice and simple. I'm not going to lie, the detail on the drum could be better. The lines there, or the bits of cord that come down, yeah, they're not always brilliant, but I'm being picky, and why not? And here we go. Here's an officer. Over there, chappies. Something happening over there. Again, a little bit of cleanup on the base. But overall, nice and simple. Do I worry that I didn't go for the Brits? Well, not really. I didn't mind getting the French. But we'll have a look at some of the Brits because Martin left his box of Brits with me. So we're going to have a look at that in a minute. So let's have a look at some of the infantry. So this is infantryman advancing. Now these are slightly different to the skirmish pack. I thought I did think it was the same model, but you'll see that the backpack and the blanket roll are different here. I've just spotted that, just putting it under this camera. A little bit of flash, not too much at all. Let's have a look at another one, see if there's anything different in here. Sorry for the sight of my hand going in. That looks the same. I think they are basically the same pose. I don't have any problems with that. There you go. So that's those. So this is all I've got left to paint of the French. There's enough in this bag with the command stands, I think, for another 4 battalions. And this bag here, I just got some for skirmishers. Again, they're actually the same figures, aren't they? They are the same figures. Oh well, never mind. But that's absolutely fine. Here's a slightly different one. All right, they are. So the gun, just twist it straight there. And I can show you this one. In fact, this one painted as well. Not this exactly one. But again, a little bit tidy up. So that's brilliant. So there's the French. So let's have a look at what I've done on the painting front. Okay, so the first thing is to say that these are just French artillery from the Napoleonics. These are very old figures. Why are they here? Because I've yet to paint up the French artillery that I've got. They're in another bag. So for now, I'm just using old 15mm. But let's have a look. So I've just showed you these 2 models unpainted straight out the bank, and that's what they look painted. As you'll say, these are Golden Demon standard painting. They should win an award for being top quality. Not. So it's interesting because when you put it under a camera, you think to yourself, oh my God, is that the best you could do? But these have been done to get them on the table, just looking tidy. As you can see, that they're on inch bases. There's a bit of magnetic underneath. Yep, just enough to do a interesting job, the job to get them on the table, really. So this is the other pose that you can have for the French. And again, hopefully just neat and tidy, not too many mistakes. I can see one there, but never mind. But they work okay. And how are we doing them? Well, you can see from the box that a battalion is literally a line of figures across here. So it's basically just 4 bases. And here we go again, 4 bases for the Zouaves. Oh, a bit untidy there at the top. Look at that. Terrible, terrible. Now, I wish I'd read the book because it suggests that the turban for the line infantry should be green. I'm going to get a bit of white paint and tidy them up. But I wanted to get them done for this morning's game. So I was doing it late at night and the lighting wasn't the best. But they're okay. No grass on the bases yet. I'll do that all in one go. Yeah. They're 15mm. They're not meant to be, as I say, award-winning standard. This is some French cavalry. Again, enough to get it on the table. This is at the dolman, this bit here. That should be more of a sky blue. So I would be able to do that. Again, just enough to get them on there. I wanted to see what they look like. You know, as a typical war game, I want to mess about, get them done. Now, if anybody's a connoisseur on French uniforms of the horse and musket period, or particularly the Crimean War, and you'd like to tell me I've done it wrong, don't bother. Because I really don't care. I just want them looking good. No, on a more serious note, please feel free to tell me how I should improve the colour schemes. And the reason being is I went online to try and find how this guy should be painted, and I couldn't find it. Now there is a little section into the Valley of Death, which I read this morning. Okay, guilty. I read it this morning, and I should have read it when I was painting them. But anyway, I found a paragraph that suggested these should have sky blue jackets. I think they're called dolmens or whatever. So that's fine. Another case of I can just tidy them up. So how much cavalry have I got? So let's have a look. Well, it should be easier just to turn the box around, doesn't it? Why get them out? So at the moment, I've got we're using 3 bases to a regiment, squadron, whatever it is, a unit on the table. So that gives me 2 units of light and a unit of chasseurs d'Afrique. And yes, the chasseurs d'Afrique, that's these old boys. I do know, again, because I read it this morning, that the top of the hats should be red. In fact, what I will do is I'll just leave that one there in the distance, and let's get the book out, and I'll show you a picture of the book, showing you the my incompetence. If I can just find it. Should be here. Because my mate Martin, he found it and said, no, they should look like this. I said, thank you, buddy. That's what friends are here for. Here we go. So I found it now. So let's show you this picture. So as you can see, I think that's the same figure. Oh, maybe they'll lighten a bit. You can see that that's meant to be the same figure. So I'm not a million miles away. And if I just do the top of their hats red, I think that will bring that back into line. Now we'll see what you think. So far, so good. You can see I've got plenty of space in my A4 box. So what's the key here is that the French Army of the Crimean War will fit in this box. And what doesn't fit doesn't get used, because storage is at a premium. So I've got the artillery to do. They're still unpainted metal. They are cleaned. I will be, after this video, putting them on sprues and painting, well, on bits of card, and then getting them painted. I've got 8 models. So, oh dear, let's do that. So, let's see with my incompetence if I can show you some of the Brits, because I'm sure more of you are interested in the Brits. So, here we go. This is like, well, assuming you're into 18mm or whatever it is. So this is a British commander. Again, you can see A little bit of flash, not much. A bit of a chunk. Ooh, a bit of a chunk there. But to be honest, that will come off quite nicely. I'll do that for you, Martin. There you go, mate. You can say thanks later. So just a little bit, get them off. Not too bad. What else we got? Just a second. Well, these are the bags. Let's bring the bags across. Who loves to see a bag? There we go. What we got here? This is one of the British light cavalry. They do look quite nice. Again, you can see that, just to be honest with you, a bit of a just a quick rub over there, and that does fit. It does look ugly, but when they're on the base, you don't see it. I'm just trying to get that off with my finger. Always a bad thing, break your nail. But these are lovely figures, I have to say. And the 18mm does make a difference. What else have we got here? Let's have a look. I think that is what I've just done. Yeah, so they're the cavalry. So there's 24 models in the bag. So what have we got in this one? Oh, these are the British line. You know, I got this prepared better, honestly. Trust me. Well, don't trust me because I didn't do it right. So again, a little bit of flash at the front. That comes off fairly okay. And you're going to say, well, actually, that looks quite similar to Napoleonic British. There we go. Or does it? Connoisseurs amongst you might think otherwise. A little bit of scraping just to clear them up. There you go, that's British. So I've only Marcy just brought these around today and left them with me to look at. Here we go, the quintessential British Guard. Obviously they got the hats when they beat the French Grenadiers, British Old Guard. We like to look at that. We'll have that for the Brits, shall we? But there we go. I do talk nonsense, don't take it seriously. But it gives you an idea. So I think Lancashire Games have done a good job overall. Now, I think I found some Highlanders. Where did I find the Highlanders? Dear, can I find them? I'm mixing them up now. I am struggling, trying to keep it live. Oh, well, there were some Highlanders. I don't know where they're gone, but the Highlanders look good as well. We'll just get some more of these out as we go. Oh, there's some rifles, there's some artillery. So this is a bag. I'm not going to get them out. You've got an idea, but there we go. They're rifles, artillery guns. Classic. They're going to be put together. But I'm trying to find Highlanders. Aha! Here we go. And then we'll let you go because you'll have had enough of me by then. Here we go. Yep. So this are your Highlanders. What do you think? Do you like it? Well, we'll see. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to end the video there. I will say that we've enjoyed the games. Black Powder is a good game. I mean, people have different opinions on Black Powder. A lot of people won't touch it with a barge pole. But we've had some cracking games. Now, I think we've played 2 or 3 games. We've been using programmed Wargames Scenarios. I was going to end it there, wasn't I? There you go. I lied. So we've been using this, programmed Wargames Scenarios. Martin's got the more recent one. What I like about it is, in fact, this is next week's. This is next week's set. So those top 2, these 2, and this one will form the basis of the table for next week. And we'll produce a game using that. We'll more than likely get, so this is one that we've been playing. Sorry about the lighting. This one we've been playing, so that was the map that came up. We should have had some roads on it, but never mind. Hill line defense. We played it both ways. I think I played the Russians last week. I think I might have just scraped it, and this week was a draw with the French. So what you do is that, assuming you can see that, so you just design what the forces look like for defense, what they look like for attack, and away you go. Now, I do think that in this one, the French defenders are a bit light. So we did add another unit, it was a battalion of Zouaves. Now, why did I get I had the French. Why did I get a draw out of it? So is that, it is quite simply because Martin had a blunder with his cavalry, and they ran within 3 inches of my artillery and my Zouaves, all with rifles, with elite and sharpshooters. So that put pay to the cavalry, which gave me an opportunity to come round his left flank. If I hadn't have done that, and so turn the map the right way around to how we were using it. It's not very good, but that is a town which was being defended. That was almost an anchor. So I lost this hill and the brigade defending it. I kept this one with my Zouaves, and my cavalry came round here, and I was able to take out the Russians where my finger is. There you go. There's a battle report for you, added to it as well. More money for you for your subscription. Bless your hearts. Right, so that's it done. I'm going to stop there, stop waffling, and I hope this was of some interest to you.